So our case study for today will be based on Dinah. So Dinah is Jacob's daughter born to him by Leah. So you know that Leah is the first wife and before Rachel. So and Leah gave birth to Dinah for Jacob. So we'll be looking at the lesson we can learn from the life of Dinah. So you know that after Jacob made peace with Esau. Then Jacob moved to Shechem. So we'll be talking about the lessons we can learn from the life of Dinah. So I hope we find this helpful. So let's dive into it. So there are three important lessons to learn from the life of Dinah, which is Jacob's daughter. So and the number one thing I would love to talk about is unequal yoke with unbelievers. Then the number two, look at the consequences of unequal yoke with unbelievers. And number three, we will look at the things that the act of Leah, led his brothers to. Okay, so let's talk about the first one, which is unequal yoke with unbelievers. So if you look at it, after Jacob made peace with his brother Esau, he journeyed to Shechem, and this Shechem is a place whereby it's full of unbelievers. So they are unbelievers and they are uncircumcised. And Jacob and Dinah, they are all Israelites, and the Israelites are what? They are circumcised. And comparing unbeliever to believer, that two different things. And so when the story that we see that Jacob, journeyed to Shechem, and he stayed in Shechem. And Dinah, the daughter, he has been checking around. Oh, these people, wow, their lifestyle. Looking at their lifestyle, looking at their custom, looking at their tradition, looking at how they do everything. And she was like, oh, let me just see how these people do things. Like getting fascinated with their lifestyle. So we can see that Dinah moved out, to mingle with the women of Shechem, and we say it was written in the Bible that the women of Shechem, people of Shechem, they are unbelievers, and we say that Dinah is from the Israelite, and she is a believer and circumcised in particular, and she moving, mingling with, let me use that word, mingling. She mingling with the unbelievers is something not expected of her. And they're telling us that as believers we should be careful of how we mingle with unbeliever. So we can see that for Dinah to mingle with the women of Shechem defied her. So we can see that in the scripture, Genesis chapter 34. We can see that Dinah making friends with the people of Shechem, made her lost her identity. So same thing happens to the present world we are right now, and so many brothers and sisters in the church, they already lost their identity, and they are in the church, and at the same time they get fascinated with the things of the world, and we find it difficult to even differentiate the brothers in the world and the brothers in the church, and the sisters in the world and the sisters in the church. So we find it difficult, and it makes them lost their identity. So we can't figure out in particular where they belong. So do you belong to the world or you belong to the church? Where exactly do you belong to? So we find it difficult. So we can see that Dinah's art of mingling with the women of Shechem made her to lose her identity, and that led to her defilement. We as Christians, we as believers, so we should be careful. We should be careful in making choice of friendship and relationship also. So we can see that Dinah was not careful in making choice of friendship, and she got defied, and which also led to some other acts of his brothers in killing the men of Shechem. So, and I think we should always be careful in whatever decision and whatever act we find ourselves. So we can see that Dinah also faced a consequence, and which made her got defied by uncircumcised. And when she mingles with the uncircumcised, which is the Shechem, the Shechem ladies, the Shechem women, and she mingles with them. And when the uncircumcised man saw her in the midst of the Shechem, ladies, she was in his own mind was like they are all the same, because when he met with her, and Dinah was not given response to his request, and what the man could do is that to forcefully defy Dinah. And so we can see that part of the consequence Dinah faced is that she lost her purity, and which purity signifies holiness. Then she lost her purity. So same thing happens to us also as believer. Mingling with unbelievers, and we can get to lose our holiness, that we can get to lose our purity. So we should always be careful, when with the people we move around with. So this is a powerful lesson I think we need to ponder on. You can see that what made Dinah, got raped was that she got engaged with the activities of the Shechem, the Shechem women, and she got fascinated with it. And same thing applicable to us also as believers. We should disengage ourselves from worldly things. So we can see that Dinah got attracted to their lifestyle, to their tradition, and everything. And she got raped by an uncircumcised. So we should also be careful and be careful of the way we get engaged to worldly things. So we should disengage ourselves from worldly things in order to maintain our purity and sustain our purity. So the last one I would like to talk about so is that we can see that the act of Dinah, led to his brother killing the men of Shechem. And I'd like to say that a small sin, leads to bigger sin. So this is a beautiful lesson I learned from the book of Genesis chapter 34, the story of Dinah, which is Jacob's daughter. And I would love to hear your thoughts about this particular story. So what inspiration do you get about this story? And I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. Thanks for watching. I love you. Bye bye.